Welcome to Rockin' Bubbies. What's up, Matt Lennon? How you doing, bud?
What's up, Bubby?
What's up, Bubby?
Episode 4.
4, bud.
Yeah.
Cheers again. We cheers every time before this. Yeah, we got some cool guests for it. For everybody.
Got some hometown friends in today.
Yeah, you want to introduce them?
Denny Blackwell.
You right?
And Matt Jones from Hamco.
What's up?
You can get the boy out of Hamco, but you can't take the Hamco out of the boy.
Kim in.
That's true.
Kim in.
That's right.
How you guys been doing, man?
Wonderful. How are you guys?
Oh, we're batting 1,000.
Good.
So not playing, not booking too much right now, right?
Do what?
No shows happening.
Oh no. I mean, we gotta just keep ourselves entertained by YouTube and Spotify.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible.
So you guys were in the same class together?
He's a year older.
Yep.
Awesome, man.
Me and Jones went to the same class.
We were in the same class.
Class of what?
03.
2003.
You were 02?
Yes.
Did the math right.
He's a little slow.
Congratulations,
I got all
Paz.
nervous. I got all nervous because I'm like, we're starting to talk about math and numbers. I'm like, yeah, 02, yeah, that's right. Mhm. Yeah, that's it.
So what do you do exactly?
Oh gosh.
Just give the list, man, because there's like a laundry list of them.
I mean, I've looked at your plethora of stuff, man. You've done a lot of cool stuff.
I guess high level, I'm a graphic designer. So, sit behind a computer and, I make things look sexy, make things look pretty, whether that goes from any sort of like print collateral to web, website design, logo work or whatever. And then that kind of stemmed, and like that's just kind of like your foundation, and
right.
then you can just kind of like break off and do, tons of stuff from that.
Yeah. So when you start, I know you probably know all this stuff, Matt, but I'm really interested in your guest today, so I'm going to be.
Go for it, man. Ask the questions.
When did you start in graphic design?
Oh, good Lord.
Was it in high school?
So like I'm 37 now, but I knew that I liked design work because, I mean, hell, we played in bands and, and so this is a funny story, and I'll try to make it quick because we got Trulies to drink. But, what?
You good?
It's good. Okay.
So, playing in bands and everything like that, I always played in a band with my brother, and he was, kind of telling me that, bands need cool looking stuff, whether it's T-shirts or some web presence or whatever. And,
100%.
And this was like back when computers just kind of came out, kind of timestamps me. But we didn't have anything like MySpace or Facebook or anything like that. But, my brother and I just always were kind of like into the graphic arts, if you will. I mean, like, and then just one thing led to another I didn't know if I even wanted to go to college, but my brother was already down in Carbondale, and he was like, he was a biology major, and he called me one day and he's like, "Hey man, you thinking about doing college?" And I was like, "I'm wrapping up Wren Lake." And I'm like, I don't know. And I kind of like doing this, doing that. He goes, "Hey, there's this new thing that just came out called graphic design, and you do stuff on a computer, and you do stuff for like bands and all these labels that we were following at the time." And he was like, "You can do that." And I go, "Cool, I want to do that." And then I packed up my stuff and I moved down to Carbondale with my brother, and the rest was kind of history.
So not to fast forward, but I want to grab people's attention because usually at the 7-minute mark, they usually bounce off and It's over with. What is the biggest artist that you've done work for? The biggest band, whatever, and then we'll jump back.
Juice WRLD, AC/DC, Zeppelin, Green Day.
You said enough. I think you've hooked them in.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Who are those people?
Yeah, who are those? we got Skylar Anderson in the house.
I finally have a mic.
Yes, he's got a mic, and this cat is a graphic designer too.
Oh, tight.
Cool. Yeah, I just graduated this year, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dude.
Thanks.
Right on, man.
Yeah. So, what about you, Skylar? I mean, when did you start?
I was probably 14 or 15. I started messing around with stuff, and then we had a class at the high school that was like a Photoshop kind of. It was like the first year they put it in, and I ended up having to like teach the class because the teacher didn't really know anything about it. He just kind of got thrown in. So, and then after that, I worked here at Case Printing for like 5 years, and then
great koozies, by the way, brother.
Oh yeah,
Corn Day koozies.
I did Corn Day for 12 years.
Yeah.
Finally called that quits, and then decided to go to school and actually get the $80,000 paper, or whatever it is. So
right.
Is that something you put on your resume?
What was that?
Corn Day for 12 years.
I did actually. I did. Surprisingly,
shit, man.
I had to actually go through this like process at school, and like they had to, like a rough kind of like, what have you done before to like even accept me kind of thing. Right. And I put a couple of those Corn Day shirts, and they were like, well, these are actually really good. And I was like, these look like shit. I was 16 when I did these, you know what I mean? So,
so you went to school at Wren Lake, right?
Yeah. So I did like all my basic stuff, and but like even going to Wren Lake, I really didn't know what I was wanting to do. It was just kind of like the basic
general studies.
Yeah. And I'm like, I had no idea what the hell was going on with life, and thank God.
Still figuring it out.
Yeah. And my brother, he's 10 and a half months older than me, and I always looked up to him, and we've remained close still to this day. But if it wasn't for him, I really don't think I would be at like where I'm at.
Right.
Just because like he kind of pushed and prodded me to like, hey man, he goes, I know. He's more analytical, kind of thinks on that side of the tracks, and I'm more of just kind of like, I want to do this, and make things look cool on T-shirts, and he's like, dude, he goes, you can do that for a living, man, and I'm like, you're bullshitting, and but he was like, no, he goes, I'm serious, and then one thing led to another, and that's kind of like how I got my start. So I mean, that's like awesome. If it wasn't for my brother, I owe him a lot. So
what's a website that people can come find you at?
So you can check out my portfolio website at devouryourself.com, and it's got all my apparel stuff that I've done, some website stuff, some social media content that I've worked on, and just like some personal stuff that I like to put on there. But I'm so busy, it seems like, with like a lot of other work that I'm like, I hate myself because I need to be updating my website with like a lot of current stuff that I've been working on, and I fail myself every day. So,
Well, I mean, I guarantee you're always doing something. It sounds like, man. I actually got a hold of you. I don't even think Matt knows about this, but I was like I think you were doing something with your band.
Yeah,
they were doing.
Yeah.
What was it? What is that project you got with him? You create design shirts.
He's actually our manager.
We
wow. Yeah, on gutter management.
Yeah. So I had no idea you hit me up, and I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, you did. I think you did. You did.
Probably lost you at the Bubby part. Yeah.
Hey, Bubby, care to make some stuff for me?
He's like, I'm ghosting this one.
I think I did, because I contacted the same. You make their stuff, and you said, yeah, and you responded back to me.
Oh, okay. Well,
you did, but
okay.
But it went there, and it kind of. But we didn't pursue anything. But I was like, gosh dang, what you do is literally,
it's badass.
It's not just badass. It's so professional that it's like, wow.
Thank you.
You don't get that stuff around Southern Illinois, and it's good to see that.
Cool.
It really is.
Well, I appreciate.
I actually got the website pulled up here. We can kind of look at.
Yeah.
Hey, while we're on the website too, you should tell the story of the teacher.
Oh, so all right. So I'm going to school, right? And, obviously I'm not going to say any names, but I had an instructor. He was my typography teacher, and I was doing my, I don't know what the name of it is. At the end of the semester, you do your big ass project.
Finals?
Yeah, whatever that might be. Finals, big ass project, that same thing, right? But so I always did things a little bit differently, because like I knew for a fact I wanted to do band stuff. Like that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do stuff for like, design stuff for like Harley Davidson people, because my dad, rode a Harley, and I'm like, there's a market for that.
Of course.
So, I'm doing, my typography class, and, I get up there and I do my, my presentation, and, I sat down, and my instructor goes, well, Denny, goes, that's all fine and dandy. He goes, but don't expect to earn a living, designing for bikers and rock bands. And I felt like this big, because I was embarrassed in front of my whole class. And I'm just like, well, you may be right. You may not be right. Hell, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to just graduate, get the hell out of college just to see what's going on out there in the, design world. And I proved his ass wrong.
Obviously, because I don't mean to stop you because you're not looking at the screen right now, but I mean to come back. That T-shirt that you just had pulled up, Skylar, of the Led Zeppelin, it was the Led Zeppelin one. I've seen people wear that freaking shirt, dude.
Which one? These?
Yeah, the third, it's that one right there in the middle. I've seen people rock your merch, dude, and didn't really.
This one right here?
Yeah.
I have that one. I'm pretty positive.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, I'm almost positive I got that at, like,
What
Hot
does
Topic.
it feel like? Not to, we're going to go back. But what does it feel
Hot
like
Topic,
to walk by somebody, see your goddamn shirt that you made, man?
I mean, it's definitely humbling. I mean, like, and there's been, when it first started happening, I started landing like a lot of these designs in like Hot Topic or, major retailers. I was just like, I would go into the stores and like, oh, I did that one for Bullet for My Valentine, or I did that one for Avenged Sevenfold or whatever. But it got to the point that I'm like, why do I have to tell people it doesn't even matter?
Right.
And then I think that was kind of like the young me,
right,
and kind of like just being so green. But now, like, I'll see people walking by in a store or at the mall, and I'm just like, I'm holding hands with my wife, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, I designed that. And she's like, I know.
kind of cheese out for a minute.
Yeah. All right, let's go back. I didn't mean to stop you there, but
how many times are you going to say let's go back? You said let's go.
Well, how about let's go forward?
We're going to go forward. We're in diapers now.
He was telling a story, and I had to stop you because I mean it's awesome, man. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Do you know where you're at?
What were we talking about?
Talking about your T-shirt.
I'm still looking at all the T-shirts. I'm
what-
very distracted right now.
You finished. I think you finished that story, didn't he?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
So as far as like managing, what all bands do you manage? I know you manage Abaddon.
Yeah. So Matt, their band Abaddon, and then a band in St. Louis called Outrun the Fall. I've just been working with these guys exclusively just because, like, my biggest thing is, like, okay, you only have so many hours out of the day. And, I work a full-time job as an associate creative director at a marketing company downtown St. Louis. Now, after they get about 40 or 50 hours of your time a week, you can only allocate so much
Right.
to, maybe certain other things that you're into. And I love managing bands. Matt's band being one of them, Outrun the Fall being another. And, we've been grinding probably for 2-3 years.
Yeah, for a couple of years. And brag on the Outrun the Fall stuff that you've done lately. They're like killing it.
Yeah. So we got, recently they've recorded some hot tracks with Jack Daniels down at Sick Tone Studios. He's an awesome dude. So if you were a band in the tri-state area, or just if you're traveling or whatever, please just hit him up, look him up.
It's a place to go.
The dude knows what's up. So Jack, this one's for you, buddy. And anyway, he's also paying me like $35 to say. No, but long story short, Outrun the Fall, they recorded some really awesome tracks with him. We did like a kind of a marketing rollout campaign with like Spotify, and we landed them on like 2 huge Spotify playlists.
I've listened to most of their stuff.
And buddy, and like our followers went up, our numbers went up, everything went just up. And then we started to get some label attention and everything like that. So I got to be careful with what I say, because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag on some details that have not finalized
But the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Oh man, 100,000 listens on that last song that came out.
So they
have over 1 million streams.
Yeah, I seen that too.
Yeah, they're crushing.
Yeah, some of their big tracks. I mean, we're nearing like 5 million streams on their top track, I believe, and then we got them on Sirius XM. I think that was kind of an organic growth kind of thing with their band. Like, so I mean, like these guys, they put in the work. They, they're. I mean, and I guess I'm trying to come full circle here, but like I only have so much time during the day, and I want to work with bands that like I'm passionate about. That like I'm like, these guys, they can do something, right. And between Matt's band, like I've always had like a spot in my heart for hardcore. Like I would be the first one to tell Matt he sucks, but he doesn't. But I mean, like he is like the creative force, I think, behind his band, and I feel like that everyone else just really complements this sound that they're trying to like just produce. And them working with Jack down at Sick Tone, like I feel like that he's been able to extract this from them. And I'm like, guys, I'm like, I used to be in a band. I used to do this for a living, but used to do this like a lot. And I'm like, you guys need to just work with like an awesome producer, because like you guys got the ideas, and you just need someone just to massage those out of you.
Right.
So, and same thing with Outrun the Fall. I mean, like those guys are all talented. I love them. And I just, I wish I could work with more bands, but it's just like at the end of the day, I mean, I've only got so much time for so many bands, and just these two are it.
I can say one thing about Matt is the years we played together. I don't know, it was like 8 years.
Oh yeah,
the band.
We were years.
He wrote 99% of the riffs, and I maybe threw in a touch here and there. I was there for the party.
Yeah.
We always played good together, though.
Oh yeah,
complimented each other.
Oh yeah, remember that time you played with your guitar unplugged?
That's you ain't the only one I've done that with.
No, but like Matt's always been like I always tell the guys that our band wouldn't have booked half the shows if it wasn't for Matt.
Sure.
I mean, we started playing with SIMC and started doing all that stuff, which was the best times ever.
Greatest.
I think I told a story the other day about Sky shaving her head at the G Spot.
Yeah, I remember telling that.
But no, man, like super proud of all you guys for what's going on, man. Like one thing I wanted to ask you about specifically, because I laughed my ass off at this. What's up with Chet, man?
Oh, guys, Chet Davison.
Chet Davison, yeah.
So Outrun the Fall, they were booking with Juan Ibanez over in St. Louis, and if you're a band looking for an awesome video, please hit him up. Juan, I love you, buddy. But they booked some time with him, and we started developing this idea of, kind of the message behind their song, and it's just like, be who you are, just like be true, just live how you want to live, and don't worry about what other people think. It's just kind of like that was kind of the idea behind the song.
Because the beginning of the video, it started off with them all dressed up as different characters, and
right.
It was so fun.
And I got to throw Brandon some love for wearing that Abaddon shirt during that.
Yeah, I seen that.
Right, you right.
I know.
You right. So like we came up with this idea, and I got on the phone with Brandon and Ryan from Outrun the Fall, and like we talked through some ideas, and we kind of developed this kind of weird like manager extension of myself to say, yeah, guys, like I'm that dirtbag piece of shit manager, like the the stereotypical kind of like manager from Hollywood or whatever, and then we kind of like bake that into like the music video, and honestly the
I saw that.
I purchased all this stuff on like Amazon or whatever, and I got it all in, and I had a couple drinks one night, and I put it all on, and my stepdaughter Zyla, she came out and she goes, "Dad, what's going on?" And I'm like in the kitchen, and my wife, she's laughing. She's like, "Oh, Dad's getting ready to go do this video in a couple weeks, and he's just trying to get in character." And she's laughing, and I go, Zyla, I go, "Babe," I'm like, I gotta figure out a name. Like, who am I? Like, I can't figure it out. And she goes, you kind of look like a Chet. And then I go, Zylan, I go, bingo, I am Chet. And I go, what's my last name? And she's like, we tooled around with a couple ideas, and she goes, Chet Davison. And I'm like, I go, Zylan, you are awesome. So then Chet Davison was born.
So where can that be found? It can be on YouTube, right?
Yeah. So,
and it's also on Outrun the Fall's Facebook page.
Yeah. Outrun the Fall. You can, either Google it. I mean, Facebook, YouTube, but if you go to outrunthefall.com, I think I actually embedded that video in their site. So you can.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like it's pinned when you first roll it up. But it's one of the first videos you'll see.
So getting back on the whole graphic design, how do you get in touch with these people to do a Led Zeppelin T-shirt?
Yeah, please tell me, honestly.
How does that work? Who do you know?
He's like, very intrigued by
this.
So, I mean, like, this is kind of how it all breaks down, at least for me. I know everyone's a little bit different. So, so after I graduated Carbondale, my brother and I, we sent a video to Victory Records of just him and I just talking to the camera, and that we're designers and we love Victory and we wanted to work with them, and we got an email response back immediately saying come up and interview. We're like, okay, that's pretty wild. So I'll fast forward because like I've got my reservations about Victory, but I'll tell you guys at another podcast. But
Hold you to that.
But I made some of the best friends I've ever made up at Victory Records. We were in the trenches together. We worked our asses off. We leaned on each other because we had to, because sometimes it was a toxic environment.
Shout out to Randy.
Yeah, you're right, Randy.
And where's Victory Records?
Chicago.
Okay.
Yep. So, we worked there, and, I got to make some awesome friends, got to meet some awesome bands, got to work with some awesome bands. And once my brother and we left after about a year, I just stayed in touch with all my buddies.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, if it wasn't for just staying in touch, and I think just being a good person and good karma, and just always putting your best foot forward and trying to produce good work. And I think your work's going to speak for itself. And I also think that, like, if you're just a good person, good things are going to happen to you. But unfortunately, sometimes you're a bad person and good things happen to you.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Shit out of luck.
And sometimes sometimes you're a great person and really shitty things happen to you. It comes back to the principle of, like, be a good person, keep your nose clean, and just try to make friends and connections and everything. And I think everything's going to kind of come full circle. So, after I left there, I landed a job, working for a licensee of Harley Davidson, which kind of, brings me back to what my instructor said. He's like, well, don't expect making a living working for rock bands or, bikers.
Right.
Well, my first job out of college, I worked for a record label. And then my second job was I started working for, licensee of Harley Davidson. So I'm like, okay, pal, I proved you wrong on both accounts.
That's what it took, right?
Yeah. I mean,
it took somebody to say, oh, don't expect this.
they can't.
I'm going to show you. And I think that works with a lot of people. It definitely works in mine.
Anytime somebody tells you you can't do something, that makes you work harder to do it.
I'm going to show you.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's not that I was like super hell-bent on just proving this guy wrong, but I'm just like you're probably 55 years older than me, but there's a market for this shit.
The world's changed since you were back in the game.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And it's gonna be different. It's constantly just changing.
Yep.
So, all my friends, they started working for other labels. Excuse me, these Trulies got me burping, boy. All my friends, they started working for other labels, other management companies, and everything like that. And they're just like, hey, man, we got, some bands that need some merch. They're going to be coming down to, Hot Topic. We need something hot for, Spencer's or Hot Topic or whatever to take a look at. So, I've had the opportunity to work with, some of these labels and everything like that.
You going to be any louder, Matt?
I tried to hold in a burp and it came out, man.
That was a burp?
It was like,
I thought you sneezed.
Yeah, I thought he did too.
It's like a cat.
That's that bush latte, son.
Yeah, sweating out yesterday's sins, brother.
I think I just did that.
Yeah,
You're
Did
fine.
I do that?
It's like really loose for some reason. I'm not really sure what's going on with it, but we'll figure it out on the break.
So these people will be like, hey, Green Day's coming out with a new album. Can you make something?
Dude, so so this is kind of how the Green Day stuff worked. I worked for a licensee as a freelancer, a licensee of like a rock and roll company,
Right.
And one of their clients was Green Day, and I got hit up, and they were like, "Hey, next on deck is Green Day," and I'm like, and I shit all over myself because
Fanboyed.
Huh?
You fanboyed.
I did.
Oh, Dookie.
Because
Dookie back in the day.
He Dookie.
Because like Green Day was like my band growing up. Like I love Green Day, and like I idolized Billy Joe and everything, and
100%.
and then I had the opportunity to like do these designs for Green Day, and I'm like, okay, all right, where's my brown paper bag? I need to breathe, So
Right.
So I did these designs, and then it's kind of like you submit, and then you just kind of wait to see what hits and what's approved and everything like that. Well,
How many submissions do you submit?
as many as you want, I guess. Whatever you feel kind of inspired or have time
Right.
for. And but it was for the Uno Dos Tres album, their trio album right there. And I did probably like 8 designs, and I think maybe all 8, and we're talking years ago, but I think all 8 actually got approved. And they were like European tour exclusive, Hot Topic stuff. And I was like, first off, I had the opportunity to design for Green Day. And then having these designs being approved.
Felt like you won the lottery, didn't you?
Yeah, it did. And it did. Like, I wasn't able to really stuff my pocketbook, but I mean, like, they paid me, for my work. But I got to see these, like, in real life, real time on, e-commerce stores or Hot Topic or just tour exclusive items. Man. And I'm like, oh, I can die happy, because I'm like, that was the band that I grew up and I idolized, being a kid.
Yeah. When we were in a band in high school, that was your band.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a hard time having me play. I'm a terrible guitar player. They had a really hard time having me play like Metallica stuff, and I'm like, let's play Green Day because
like power chords.
Yeah, power chords.
Dude, I was telling Pez earlier today when we were on the way here, and I was like, I remember like back in the day at the teen center, like,
oh yeah,
you, Matt, Justin Branch, your brother, you had the
Metallica cover band.
Yeah, and then and like your brother had the Explorer, and you had the Hetfield.
Yep.
And I just remember, I was like, and I told him, I was like, man, they always nailed the shit, no matter what. And then it's somewhere along the line, it switched to Godsmack.
Yep, sure did.
Yeah.
Oh, we've all made mistakes in our life.
Oh, yeah.
But no, man, you got
to be trendy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we had a good time. We had a good time,
yeah.
and at the time that was hot, and that's what we did.
Well,
so.
that's where you started at. You didn't know where it was going to go. Mm-hmm. I mean, nobody had any idea. Like then, everybody thought they were going to be rock stars back then.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
we thought we were going to go big time.
Yeah.
I mean,
we were like, we're going to L.A. as soon as we graduate high school. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Speaking of LA, you went to LA. I overheard you said recently. What did you think of LA? What do you think of LA?
I love LA.
Yeah.
I've been there a handful of times, and it was mostly just with music. And I played in a band, like a serious band, for years. And let's be honest, like I played in a band since I was like 14. And when you finally get old enough that you're like, okay, well, do you want to invest a lot of time and money and effort, blood, sweat, and tears into this, or is it just kind of a passion project? But I put my chips all in. I wasn't married yet or anything like that, and but I started working with this label out there, and we had an opportunity to go record with Mitch Marlowe. And he's done a lot of work with like In This Moment, He Is Legend, Korn, POD. I'm almost positive on those last two. I know POD for sure. But this dude, he makes gold records, and we're like, awesome, that's cool. So we got to go out there and demo with like some other guys, and Josh from Azalea 9, their bass player. So we hung out with him. We did some tracks, some demo scratch tracks with him, and I got to just experience that and rub shoulders with all these guys and just like bullshit and talk music industry and just kind of like wow, this is really cool. I'm having a really good time.
Yeah.
But you know, what changed my life was having my first son, and I remember I had already been financially committed with like 4 other guys, and you know, this label that we were working with, and they were like, all right, we got you guys scheduled. You're gonna 7 to 10 days out in LA. You're gonna record. It's just sun up to sundown, and we're like, okay, cool, sounds great. And as soon as I got on the plane, I knew that I was like, man, I made a mistake, and I was like crying like a baby the whole way there.
Brings me back to whenever I worked offshore. My son, I used to work offshore. I was gone for 28 days and home for 2 weeks. And I left my son twice. And I realized I cried all the way from here in Carmi all the way to Marion to get on the interstate. And I'm like, I'm making the wrong decision. Yeah. I'm going to miss everything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it changed everything. My kid changed it all.
Yep.
100%.
Well, there's a fine line between, because like with me and playing music, I still got to have that in me, but I still got to be a good dad too.
Absolutely.
Right.
So I always try to incorporate the kids into my music life, as well as, you know, still like my little girl tonight. She goes, "Oh, you're going to do a podcast, ain't you?" I was like, "Yeah."
I know. I'm in the same boat. Like I had my kid and everything, but that I don't know, desire to create and all that, it never goes away.
No.
And I also look at it like this, is like one day when I'm old and gray and, you know, I'm already having trouble getting down the steps. But when I really have trouble getting down the steps, like, hey, check out what Dad did 25 years ago.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
like,
and they can be like, oh, cool. Like Jackson's already talking to his buddies about starting a band.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, hey, I got drums in the garage. I got amps.
Go for
I got a
it,
PA.
yeah.
Let's
I know.
go ahead and do it. You
It's
have a
really
head
cool.
start.
Like we were in the studio last weekend, and I show my kid, and he's like, Dad, I'm really proud of that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
and
man.
I'm like, oh, dude, that's the best.
Yeah, your heart's friggin' full over that, man.
Yeah.
Like
Kids
I got to experience something cool with these guys. Like my kids have never came and seen me play whatsoever. And we was playing at Lamasco's in Evansville. Really cool bar, huge place, awesome stage. And my kids got to come up and sing a song with us. Like they were out sitting at the table the whole time and watching it. But I got to have my son and my daughter like stand next to me and play with me for the very first time. And
And I saw your
awesome.
I saw a video. Your son's getting good at guitar too.
He's kind of slacked off a little bit.
Oh, well, whenever I saw that video, he was doing good.
Yeah. Me and him played a show together once or twice.
I know. I
That's
saw.
awesome.
That's what I saw. It was a gig
it's-
where you guys were jamming together.
Yeah, just like and actually that was like impromptu. Like I was at Gotsy's over here, and Mark Rogers here in town, guy's a saint. He teaches a ton of kids, and I mean he's probably got 12 or 13 kids that he teaches guitar, singing lessons to. And what are they called?
Appetizers.
The appetizers. And because he was in a band called The Leftovers for years.
That's awesome.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah,
That is very awesome.
So
Younger
so he
generation.
And now he's in a band called with his wife called Order Up.
he's
great.
He's happily retired, just celebrated a birthday. But he gets all these kids together and they go to nursing homes and play for the elderly, and they play shows at like wherever, you know, like a Corn Day, Mule Day around here and all that stuff. And Jackson really liked that part of it. And one night we're sitting at Gossie's eating, and he was just supposed to play a song with Mark. And me and him had never like worked on a song together, and he loves like old music. Like if you asked him to pick a song, he'd be like, "We want to listen to Jackson." He's like, "Brandy, you're a fine girl." You know, he'll just start going off like that. But he's like, "Let's play some Creedence, Dad." I was like, I mean, I like Creedence. I mean, okay. So I got up there with him and we played a Creedence song, and I was like, I haven't played this in like 8 years. But
Hey, if your son asks you to play it,
Yeah,
you're
you
playing
do
it.
it.
You do it.
for sure. And it's, you know, those kind of memories you make is the best. And I'm glad music has always been, because music to me is universal with everybody. Like somebody, even if it's somebody that is real big in the church,
Right.
they got hymns that are always going through their head. And, you know, metalheads like us that been listening to that stuff, we always got something going through our brain, you know.
Yeah.
And
It's the language of the world.
I
Oh,
think
sure.
so, yeah.
oh yeah, you can go to uncivilized countries or people out in the rainforest that don't have nothing, and they have their own music.
Yeah.
Sure.
They're
It
always
doesn't-
making.
It doesn't matter what race, religion, anything. Everybody can bond over music.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't really harp on anybody who has their own thing, because just because I don't like it doesn't mean a whole group of other people don't like it.
Sure. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Like, I hung up the skates, like trying to do like music in a band, like full time or, something like really serious. And, having my son was just kind of like the smelling salts. And I'm like,
wake up.
Yeah. And so I made the best of my situation. I'm out there for 7 to 10 days, sleeping on a couch, recording. But I mean, like I got to see things. I got the, exercise and run out in the Hollywood Hills. Like I had a blast, but it was like, it was kind of that thing in the back of your head, because I'm like, I've been chasing this dream since I was 14.
Yeah.
And then finally something just clicked, and and it was just like, you're gonna go home and you're gonna hang up the skates, and I was fine with that. And it was like, it wasn't even like a bittersweet thing. It was just like, I'm ready to be.
You knew what you wanted, and that happened to me. I was gonna be a captain, and I was gonna go to school, and I decided that ain't happening, man. Yeah. My kid is up here.
Well, you only get one chance when they're little,
and the dream changes.
That's it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You were going to be a captain?
Yeah.
For a steamboat?
No, a steamboat.
I can just see steamboat
Captain Morgan.
You can hear him in the morning ringing the bell. Bubby, wake up!
Jump on, boys.
I worked offshore.
In a sailor hat, wearing a thong.
I worked in the Gulf.
Yellow banana hammock.
Come on.
I got caught in a situation. And
I'm sure you did.
It was a weird, different situation, which everything turned out, my way. I'm not going to disclose this situation on here, but I went offshore. I called my cousin up and said, "Hey, I need a job," because I'm working at a toll booth at New Harmony. And I'm like,
you're the fucking reason that bridge is gone.
No,
too many bubbies.
So he said, "Hey, here's what you need to do. This is what all you need. This is what you can be making. This is the route you need to take." So I went. It was on a Thursday. I got a call. I got down and I was on a boat on Monday. I was sailing with some Cajun. These guys were rough and they were hard on me, and it opened my eyes. It was like I left my house for the first time, and I'm here 19 years old. And I went up the ladder, got my license, got my AB license, stepped up and did everything I needed to do. And I was like, oh, you know what? This ain't the life to live. So I went back home and worked at Toyota, and I realized, oh, I can't really do that. And I had a kid coming, and I started the money thing. Big dollar signs is all I could see. Yep. Oh my gosh, I got to buy diapers and everything and all this stuff. I got to make what I made when most money I ever made was when I was 19 years old. Yeah. Could have been bad. Could have went down the big pipe hole. And I was like, I got to make that money. Got a baby. Well, son comes. I can't leave home. That's it. Hang it up. I'm like, I was going to be a captain. I was going to school to be a captain, and I realized there's just no way. It's not happening.
Sure.
And I realized at 19 years old that money does not buy happiness, because when I was 19 years old, I made the most money I ever made, and I wasn't happy.
Sure. Dude, it's crazy. Because like when I had my first son, he was unexpected. But I remember talking to my parents, and I'm like, how did you guys make it work? I mean, like, what's going on? Yeah. Like, what'd you do for this, and how'd you afford that? And then my parents just go, "Hey, man, you figure it out."
That's exactly.
Yeah, you make it happen,
and you do, and by day God, by day. You do.
You do.
And man, I got to give my wife like tons of credit. She's a stay-at-home mommy, and that's like something that, it was a group decision because like my mom got to stay home with my brother and I felt like it was very important.
Yeah.
We did the same thing.
And
we did too.
It's like, and they're, my brother and his wife, they both work. I mean, like, it's just different strokes for different folks, and there's no right or wrong or whatever. It's just like, But my wife was like, you know, I want to stay home, and I'm like crunching on my calculator.
How am I going to make this work?
Like, all right, well, okay. Can you dance on the weekends? No. But all jokes aside, like that's what we decided, and it's been the best decision ever. And like I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed to have a job that I can work and be remote. And as long as I got the internet, I'm good.
You're golden.
Yeah,
that's how you work. That's how you do your thing.
Yeah, so I mean, like I worked for an awesome company in St. Louis, but then when we shut the lights off there, I'm able to like freelance and work with these bands and everything. But you make ends meet, and like we're scraping the bottom of the barrel sometimes, and sometimes you're not. It's just like but having my mommy there with the kids, buddy, it's like that to me, I'm like, man, that warms my heart.
Yeah. Well, like with me and Jess, it was like, do we really want somebody else raising our kids?
Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
And it was a no-brainer, like I was working 2 jobs. I was farming and working at Pioneer at the same time, and just so she could stay home. And it wasn't like she could go to work. My wife went to culinary school. She's an artist. She can do pretty much whatever she wants. But at the same time, it's like right now they're young, and this is like the most impressionable thing. And now we got it worked out to where I get off work in time to pick them up, and still nobody. We've only had like 1 month.
That's what I did too. Whenever we had our kid, I was like, "You just stay home," and I was like, "I will just work all the overtime."
Yeah, I remember that because we were playing together at the time. We were in Final Reckoning.
Yeah, and I just like I had to like abandon everything else and just be like, "I'm just gonna work like 6 days a week, every week." Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's weird because like I straight up asked my wife, and I'm like, do you want to work? And I'm like, because if you do, I get it. That's your freedom, that's your choice, and we'll pay someone to watch.
Because some people have problems with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I go, but then she's like, no, I wanna be a stay-at-home mommy. And I'm like, okay, I'm all for it. My chips are in. But I'm like, to your point, it's like you can work, and my wife could have worked her ass off, but I'm like, you are paying every penny out of your paycheck for childcare. Yeah. And I'm like, you're paying someone else to raise our kids, and I didn't force her to do anything. It was kind of like, hey, if you want to do it, I'll work the midnight oil. I'll burn it. It's like, if you want to be a stay-at-home mommy, let's do it.
I got a good question. Did you guys ever think 20 years ago that we'd be sitting talking about how to children's about the children's and talking about how we're going to parent them?
Y'all,
this podcast took a weird turn.
But man, y'all want to get together and talk about kids?
Hey, get there 1 hour into the podcast. We're going to give you some parental advice.
But you know what's crazy is the fact that like we're all incredibly passionate about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't fuck with my kids. I will cut you.
Everybody's
we got into the music stuff, but we're all like, kids. We're talking about kids.
What
the
blows
music
me.
took a side seat real quick. You want to talk about kids? I'll show you kids.
Let's do it.
You know what blows me away is these dads that don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's almost mind blowing.
Don't understand.
Well, I had one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just hard to fathom.
Well, that's what drove me, man. It's like my dad was never around. He left when I was 3. He died when I was 17. I met him twice. I got a Black Sabbath shirt, 2 Black Sabbath albums. I still got them all 3. But to me, it was like I didn't understand, because when my son came out and I was like, holy shit, I was not ready to grow up.
I remember when your dad,
Yeah.
me and you were like best friends.
Oh, we were tight.
Yeah. I remember when he passed.
You
were like, yeah, like you felt bad, but at the same time, you're like, my mom's been my mom and my dad.
Oh, for sure. I used to always me and Mike always get mom Father's Day cards.
Yeah.
But like the last thing I ever said to my dad before he died, and there's only a few people that know this, I said, we got on the phone and the state finally caught up with him because mom was working 2 jobs and barely making it. I remember that. And I said, I fucking hate you. I hope you die. Everything is so much better when you're not around. Just stay away from me. I was like, because he was never mean when he called. And I was just like, just leave me alone. My mom is more than capable of taking both sides. I don't need you. Mm-hmm. And 2 weeks later, he died. And I remember mom went to Chicago to visit family. And I was just in this like huge depression. And that's when I first started talking to Travis Lakin. And me and him were writing music together a lot. And we wrote a song called Bite My Tongue. And the third verse I wrote was, I can't take back what I had to say, even though I meant it so much when I said it that day. The last time we spoke when I was so young, myself might forgive me if I just bit my tongue. And
tight.
And we would, and that's how that band got started, was that song. Me and him wrote that, and it kind of helped me. And that's why music always has been super important to me, because it helped me get that off my chest without going to some dude and say, I don't know why he did. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it just helped me clear my head. But at the same time, it's like with my kids, it's like I am never, ever going to put them in a position that I can't control.
Right.
And, by God,
I do want to say, though, shout out to your mom.
Oh,
yeah. Your mom was awesome.
Awesome.
Hey, and your mom was awesome to me growing up,
Oh,
too.
yeah. Yeah, mom's crazy engine.
Connie's the best.
She always treated me awesome.
She sent me a message.
Great woman.
Yep.
So,
She sent me a message the other day.
everybody does mom jokes, right? So we have this running thing with me and Pez always mess with each other about our moms.
Yeah, I was about to say, the ambulance.
So he hit me up one day and he said something. And I was with my mom that day and we was driving. She came to visit with the kids, and I go, hey, Mom, send this message to Pez. So I got her on Snapchat, and she's like, hey, big boy, anytime you want to rock and roll, just come on over.
You should have told her to say, hey, buddy.
Yeah, I know. And she just he just texted back. He just goes, oh, my fucking God. It's amazing. Because me and my mom have this relationship together to where, I've never not told her stuff that's going on. Like I said, she's my mom and my dad. Mm-hmm. And it's just she's been my best friend forever. So let's mess with this dude because he's talking shit.
Yeah.
But I think this is a good opportunity to take a break.
Sounds good.
And we'll come back and use the bathroom and stuff and do some more of this stuff.
Yeah, you're right.
You right.